welcome to the second edition of the Three Muscateers. And on my left we have Peter Scudamore-Smith, cultivator of all things cultural at Uncorked and Cultivated. And on my right we have Ken Gargett, scribe to the stars. And myself, Chris Deacon, the resident booze hound. Today we have what's become a great trend in not only Australian but international wine is Grenache, and we have a few different examples of Grenache. And Scuds, if you'd like to take us away, we'll have a look at them.
Most certainly. The focus on Grenache sets us back to the oldest, most established parts of Australia where vines have been grown for hundreds of years. It's a warm climate grape, and of course most of the areas of Australia first planted were warm or hot. So if you look to see where it comes from, the Swan Valley, the Murray Valley, Mclaren Vale, the Clare Valley, Goulburn Valley, Barossa Valley, and anywhere else warm since.
They were big on valleys.
Yes, well, they needed water.
Yeah.
So it's a grape variety which has been forgotten for a long time. In 1950 we had 50% of our production was fortified wine, and guess what went into it? Grenache. In the 60s and 70s we became table wine drinkers. Guess what got forgotten? Grenache. It was cheap and cheerful. Now it's going through an enormous revision.
Well, it's up until the 70s before Australia was drinking more table wine than it was fortified, which today seems insane because fortified is such a tiny percentage.
It is.
But I mean, Grenache was, you didn't see it on labels in those old days because it was just marketing suicide. If you put Grenache on a label, people would just
It was
walk
called
away.
Burgundy, Darry's original.
Yeah, all those sorts of things, anything but Grenache.
Yeah.
Now it's the flavour of the month. It's the really hot grape, and that's because they're doing some stunning stuff with it.
But
and
it's
not
also
just,
very drinkable.
Oh, well, absolutely. Yeah.
It was also always grouped into the boiled lolly character.
Well, they made everything from sparkling reds, table wines,
Great rosé.
Rosés, a lot of rosés from it.
Paraport.
Fortifieds.
Paraport.
Muffins, Grenache grapes into muffins. I mean, it was used for anything. But now it's, I mean, particularly Mclaren Vale and Barossa, they're making some stunning Grenache. And other areas, I see, Scud, you've chosen one from the Swan Valley. Another in Franklin River, for example, the Swinnies. If you've seen theirs, I mean, you wouldn't imagine that those regions are making Grenache of that quality, but they're just stunning wines.
Where's that Alkena from?
Barossa.
That's an amazing spot.
I'm going there tomorrow.
Okay, so wine number one, Mondoon from the Swan Valley. Straight Grenache, is it, Scuds?
100%.
100% Grenache, old vine Grenache, which gives it a bit of complexity. Ken and I had never heard of it before, and we thought there was probably a reason we'd never heard of it before, but I actually think it's quite a good wine.
Okay, it's a single vineyard wine. Vines planted in 1954. They're bush vines, in other words, they don't have a trellis, so they sit upright, so the sun gets protected, the grapes get protected from the sunlight because it's not like a trellis. This wine's just been made in old barrels and to give it the personality. And let's face it, it's just a nice, rich, easy drinking, slurpable grape variety, which I can commend to you.
And that's the thing. You talk about the bush vines and no new oak, and that's the way that we're seeing most of these really good Grenache coming through. They come from bush vines, which you drive through a vineyard region, instead of having the lovely trellises and that, these things are just hanging around the
like triffids.
And they're not force-fed like we used to make these big, heavy, rich Shiraz. They're the dead set opposite. So I guess a lot of younger drinkers are identifying that this is a very slurpable type of variety.
And you get lovely red fruit characters, raspberries, cherries, strawberries.
Yep.
The tannins are often sort of a combination of lovely silky tannins, and sometimes just a tiny bit of sandiness to those tannins. And that's one of the ways, if you get served a glass and you don't know what it is, you can pick Grenache, is that just a touch of those sandy tannins creep in. The wine's aged beautifully.
And a little bit of lollipop. They've got lovely red fruit. They're juicy and delicious. It's as simple as that. You're going to pop the top off the second one.
This, when we pull the screw cap off, that thing was left. It happens occasionally. If it happens to you, don't worry about it. If you need the bottle to be resealed, if you're not going to finish it, just squeeze the thing back in, and you're right. And then away we go.
Let's try some Shottesbrooke.
Do you want to talk while I pour?
I need to try the... Oh, Shottesbrooke is Mclaren Vale. These are old vines. This is 2018 vintage. The Mondoon was 2019 vintage.
So we're lucky enough in Australia to have some people who didn't pull the vines out and actually kept the old vine material. And we've got places like Cirillo and Yangara, who have some really old material. And as we know, old material leads to a little bit more complexity and a little bit more interest in the wine.
This wine's a little bit more supercharged on the nose. It's got a lot of rich strawberry jam, honeys, power, alcohol, very, very aromatic.
Yeah, that's a Shiraz lover's Grenache.
Big, sort of almost chocolatey style of...
Lots of warmth. Yeah. But the telltale lollipop on the palate, in the middle flavour, just lollipopping, and that is the stamp of Grenache.
And that's got those slightly sandy tannins as well as the silkiness. It's full of flavour.
And nice spice. Yep.
Bit of coffee bean.
Yep.
And a little bit of acidity to help, marry that heavy fruit.
And it's fruity. Yeah, it's just a delicious drink that'd go very well on a wine show.
Yeah. Look, the number of you look at the guys like Turkey Flat's another one, John de Vale, what they're doing. Ministry of Clouds in Mclaren Vale. There's so, I know I'm going to forget a whole heap.
Let's jump to the third wine, otherwise we'll run out of time, guys.
I thought we were unlimited.
Not the case. So this wine is 50% Grenache and 50% Shiraz. This is French, Rhone Valley. It's the blood life of 70% of the producers in the Rhone Valley. Cotes du Rhone. Rhone coast, Rhone slopes.
And this is from the same mob as Beaucastel?
Same people as Beaucastel, but it's the major product grown in the Rhone, and it's generally half Grenache and half Shiraz. Why?
Bit of Mourvedre occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally. But why is this? We haven't talked about the fact that Grenache suffered a lot from lack of colour. Particularly in Australia, sometimes you have to hang it high, hang it long and get a high alcohol and quite off to get colour. So the way to stop it was to add some Shiraz to it. So that took off 50 years ago. And it's now the most popular style coming out of the Rhone.
And whilst it's normally used as a blend, I mean, Chateau Neuf du Pape, for example, has the 13 grapes, so including a couple of whites that you can use, and these guys do in their proper Chateau Neuf use all 13.
Yep.
Some places there's a few that are 100% Grenache, Rayaz, Henri Bonneau's, a few wines like that. You just.
But Chateau Neuf is Grenache dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. Southern Rhone's Grenache dominant.
Yeah, this is more commercial.
And great to see the French actually adopting.
Screw cap.
It is, yeah.
Well, you don't have to worry about the cork.
And fantastic value for money. What would it be? $25 a bottle, Scott?
22, 25, yeah.
You'd drink that for $25.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Gigal Cote de Rhone.
Absolutely. I've tried to convince the guys that bring it in to do a vertical of the basic Cote de Rhone, because those wines last so well. They're such incredible value. People dismiss them. Think, they've got to just be guzzled without thought.
This is a home pour for us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They just are seriously good wines
with results. Yeah.
Well, I hope that's helped you in your search for Grenache, and it's an amazing variety that is too often overlooked, but has now sort of become the new black. I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight into where it comes from and why it is. That's the Three Muscateers signing off, and we'll see you next episode.
Three Muscateers is brought to you by Grays. If you like the wines the boys tried today, click the link below. When flying, Chris, Ken and Peter prefer to be in an aeroplane. This has been a Three Muscateers production.